angels, I am your baker Rani Priyanka. Now I like to believe that fondant में मेरा थोड़ा बहुत तो expertise definitely है, right? Having trained so many students across so many cities from across the world, I'm pretty sure that my knowledge will definitely come to your use. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing how to work with fondant. Let's get started. सबसे पहले आपको चेक करना है that whenever you start working with fondant, you work in an air conditioned room. पर यही अगर सर्दियाँ हैं and you're like अरे अब सर्दी में मैं थोड़ी AC चलाऊंगी, what you need to make sure is that your room does not have a lot of humidity. You need to control the humidity. तो अगर बहुत ज़्यादा ठंड है, you can actually have the heater on. वो जो rod वाले heater आते हैं, those work really well. पंखा मत चालू करना because पंखे से moisture अगर है room में, humidity बहुत है, वो और भी ज़्यादा circulate होगी. So just like a well-controlled, dehumidified room works the best. You need to check where do you roll your fondant. You need to have a clean, non-sticky kind of a surface. कई लोग सीधा marble slab के ऊपर roll करते हैं. I prefer a non-sticky surface like this. This is a craft mat. What I like about it is आप इसके ऊपर सीधा cut कर सकते हो, roll कर सकते हो, cornflour लगा सकते हो, shortening लगा सकते हो, anything, and you can easily clean it and reuse it. So that is why a good craft mat is very important when you're working with fondant. I can't imagine working with a fondant that is not in your favor. A good quality fondant is so important when you want to work with fondant. There are so many brands of fondant in the market, but it's not a given that every brand's going to work for you. Just because something's sasta or maybe it has a beautiful packaging does not assure that it's going to be a good quality fondant. This is a brand that I really like, and this is the one I'm going to work with and show you guys further tips. Now, as soon as you take out your fondant from the packet, you need to knead it to bring it to a nice pliable condition. You don't want these little irregular surfaces to show. It should turn into a nice smooth ball. So knead it well. Also, do not do this. Okay, don't do this. This does not work. Just lift it up and fold. Now, one tip that can make your life very convenient is if you have very warm hands or very sweaty hands, have a cornflour puff next to you and just dab it like this onto your hands and then continue working. If you want the fondant to look really nice and clean onto your cake, make sure that the canvas, the cake, is very sharp and very good. I make sure all the time that I use ganache to cover my cake and then I drape fondant over it. Also, the ganache that I use outside, which is this frosting ganache, I've used a 2.5:1 ratio so that this is really hard. Here you can see I'm tapping my cake and no ganache comes off. This is what I want. Now, to ensure that my fondant sticks onto the cake, I use shortening. There was a time when I used to use water or jam, but I realized that shortening works the best. It lets me stretch the fondant the way that I want. It lets me peel off and stick again. So shortening is a major winner. Something that I learned the hard way was never start off by putting a lot of cornflour on your work surface. What you're doing with that is, if you end up putting cornflour at the beginning, you're going to start drying your fondant a lot. So do not start off with cornflour on the work surface, just start rolling. Make sure that you use a good enough rolling pin. I prefer to use the one with handle. It really works very well for me because I don't have to then use a lot of mehnat. Rolling pin itself does the mehnat. So a handle wala big rolling pin goes a long way. Now, as you start to roll, make sure that after every roll, you do a 45-degree turn. With this 45-degree turn, you will always end up with a roundish looking fondant and not a Spider-Man ki chaddi and a South Africa ka map and all of that, okay? So make sure that you keep rotating your fondant disc to a 45-degree angle. It'll really help. Now, while rolling, if you feel that, it's not really stretching too much, kuch ho nahi raha hai, main roll karti ja rahi hu, that is the time you put your rolling pin aside, lift up your fondant like this onto your hands, take the cornflour and then just dab like this. You don't want too little, you don't want too much. Similarly onto the other side. And then we're going to continue doing this. And you see, just with the cornflour, you're able to stretch it so much more. But again, we've done it only towards the middle. We've not done it from the beginning. Using a measuring tape will save you a lot of time and a lot of pain, because a number of times, when I started, it would be like I've rolled and वो या तो बहुत ज़्यादा बड़ा हो जाता था या तो बहुत ज़्यादा छोटा हो जाता था. So measuring tape for the win. Now, if like me, you're fattu when it comes to lifting up fondant and you have these fancy nails and stuff, what you can do is just put some corn flour onto your fondant. Take a normal PVC pipe and then just wrap your fondant like this onto it. Now, as you start to drape the fondant, make sure that your cake is not on a turntable. I've unrolled my fondant. सबसे पहले मैं ऊपर का चिपका रही हूँ. Make sure that you use a really good quality knife. Here I'm using an X-Acto knife. You can use a paring knife. You can use one of those blade thingies, whatever you like. But a good sharp one will take you a long way. Now, when you have a situation of air bubbles like these, what you do is you take a pearl-headed pin and poke it at an angle and then just push the air out. Now, sometimes in the same area you'll have multiple, bring them together to one side and then so that you just have to do one prick and you sort it. Once you're done draping, a couple of smoothers, good quality smoothers like sharp ones like these will really come in handy to smoothen out your fondant. Once you're done smoothing the walls of the cake, make sure that you bring back the sharp edges even on the fondant. Just take two smoothers and rub them like this and they'll bring back your sharp edges. So friends, these are some of my useful tips that I teach my students as well and I'm sharing with you. I'm going to continue smoothing my cake and I hope you guys use these tips to the best. Let me know if you use them. Comment below, like, share, subscribe. Thank you.